Boom shakalaka! Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Monday. It's Monday analysis time. It's time for a bit of Monday analysis. The live podcast has returned. Obviously, we've had an international break. That's over and done with. Thank the Lord. Although England did all right in the end, didn't they? Against Spain, etc. Not so much in the other game, but in Spain, against Spain they played very, very well indeed. So that's nice. Just get that out the way. Not going to talk about England's international campaign over the last couple of games at all. But we're going to get deep into the Premier League and in particular, obviously, the fixture at the weekend that everybody's been talking about and its aftermath, which is Chelsea versus Manchester United, obviously finishing 2-2. We'll talk about some of the other football goings on at the weekend as well. But if you're getting involved today, please do get yourself in the comment section. Let me know you're here. Give me your thoughts and opinions on what's happened at the weekend on the football, whatever team you support. Couple of people in here already. Prog for Prog Ronaldo. Russell, Mr. Armez says, Pig, why are you not at work? Doing a split day today, pal. So I've already been at work today, going back out to work later. So don't judge. But yeah. Alex Rudd with a super chat already says, what's up, Alex Rudd? Thanks so much for stopping by, you absolute legend. You must be happy with the way things are going at the moment. We'll get deep into that as the show progresses. But yeah, to everybody who's joining me right now, thanks for stopping by. Let's talk about it then. Let's talk about Chelsea versus Manchester United. Obviously, my initial reaction video, I was maybe not happy, to say the least, you could say in the video. I was more annoyed at the fact that I actually had to work while the game was on. So I didn't even have a real good grasp of Manchester United's performance because I was just listening to it in bits and bobs on the radio as I was working. So that had me pissed off to begin with. But yeah, I was feeling positive going into the end of the game. And then obviously Barkley's put it in at the end there to break our hearts right in basically the final minute of stoppage time. And yeah, it was absolutely gashtastic, wasn't it? Very depressing. What a bad way to end the game after a very positive second half performance. I've since caught up with the game and the aftermath with Jose and the coaches, that Marco Lani, or Marco Fanny, as I like to call him. But the actual performance, I mean, let's just take a look at this from an objective point of view. Going to Stamford Bridge, very tough place for anybody to go, but in particular for us to go. We've definitely struggled over the last few years going to Stamford Bridge. Jose Mourinho has, of course, struggled going to Stamford Bridge as well. So it was, on the face of it, coming away from Stamford Bridge with a point, it's actually a really good result. It's not a bad result. It's just basically the way that the season has gone so far, piling on extra pressure for Manchester United to perform and actually get results in games like these, because we've not got the results we should have done against shitter opposition. So it adds that extra dimension of pressure to go in to Stamford Bridge, and also the fact that we did drop the points at the end of the game there because of Barkley's goal just leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. But let's be honest now, it's actually a really good result going to Stamford Bridge, and the performance as well. Second half, like I say, I didn't see it live at the time, but since having caught up, I think that second half performance was pretty awesome from Manchester United. Yeah, first half wasn't so good. Chelsea were on the front foot. You'd expect that at Stamford Bridge, really. I want to see us start games going for it more. And we've sort of had to change second half out of necessity from being down. But boy, was that second half performance good. I thought there were some really stunning performances in there, individually and collectively as the team. The likes of Juan Mata just pulling the strings. Unbelievable performance from him. Excellent range of passing, excellent creativity, assists. Just, he was a little maestro out there on the pitch. And also Anthony Martial, I want to just give a little doff of the cap to, because he was quality. The two finishes that he put in the back of the net were excellent. Yeah, the first one's just landed to him, but it's instinctual. It was an instinctual finish by Martial, and that shows you what sort of player he is. He reminded me very much of Thierry Henry in that second half performance. I know he's been compared to Thierry so much in the past. You know, he's a Frenchman. He's got that same sort of swagger, if you like, and also just that same technical ability and skill and ambition out there on the pitch. You can see that with some of the stuff that he does. You know, he's not afraid to do some difficult things out there if he thinks that the end product is going to be very good. And Thierry Henry was always that sort of exuberant player. And I saw that from Anthony Martial out there on Saturday. I really did. I thought it was a great performance from him. But also the finishers. The first finishers dropped to him, but he stuck it in the back of the net. And the second one, you know, that was just absolutely unbelievable. Lovely play from Juan Mata. And Ashley Young's had a shot. It's basically just fallen to Anthony Martial again. Or was that the other goal? I'm getting confused, but the second goal, No, it was the curling effort, the second goal. He's being closed down. It's from distance. We've cut them open with a nice move. And he's just curled it into the bottom right-hand corner. It was an absolutely stunning finish. And that's given us all the hope of going on to win the game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. But his performance against Chelsea was absolutely quality. And that's what we need to see more of from him. We know he's capable of doing it. We know we've got unreal attacking talents out there on the pitch who can perform if you feed them with enough balls and opportunities. And I think that's where a player like Juan Mata really comes into his own, because he is able to get on the ball. He's able to get his head up. He's able to play players in with lovely through balls and find them lovely passes. And you need a sort of wizard like that, maybe in that number 10 role where Mata's so good, to be able to do that consistently. And if you've got that, then it just shows what you can do with players like Rashford, players like Martial, who are very pacey players, who do like to get in behind defences and who can finish as well. So yeah, I just thought his performance was great. The general performance of Manchester United's second half was actually really refreshing and really good. Shame that we have to go behind in games for us to see that, though. I want to see Jose set these teams up better in terms of let's do that from the start. I know we were at Stamford Bridge and it takes time to settle into the game, and Chelsea have been very good this season. But even so, I don't see if we can do that in the second half, and we can do it in games like that Newcastle game where we started so badly. First half was so bad, yet the second half performance out of necessity was so good. It's a huge contrast. I don't want to see us doing that in the second half of games. I want to see us starting that way, and I don't see why we can't. If the mentality's right, if the tactics are right, the team talk's right from Jose, surely you can get that out of them from the start of games. That's what I want to see. But then again, this is Jose Mourinho talking about, not the most offensive-minded of managers, let's just say that. To everybody who's tuning in right now, do us a massive favour, smash a like on this video. If you want to give it a share on social media, that'd be much appreciated as well. I'm going to get deep into some of your questions and little comments that you're making here, so be patient. I will get onto that. Want to talk about, just briefly, the aftermath in the Chelsea game, of course, which was Marco Fanny celebrating. He goes past Jose Mourinho. Jose sat down on the bench. He goes past him, and he gives it the old arm celebration, whatever that's called. You know, one of those, the old bicep curl. Yeah, one of those imitation bicep curl celebration. But that doesn't rile Jose up too much, you know, even though he's gone purposefully over there to do it in his face. No, it's when Lanny has come back past Jose Mourinho's path. Jose's just chilling there in his chair. Obviously, he's not very happy because Manchester United just conceded a last-minute equaliser. So, he's not happy, and he obviously says something to him. I don't know what he says to him. He walks past him, and Jose looks absolutely livid. And he gets up. He's like Khabib Nurmagomedov. He gets up, and he tries to get through. This time, though, the stewards do manage to hold him back. You know, he's not really got the physical prowess of a Khabib Nurmagomedov. But he gave it some passion anyway. And I really like to see that. It shows you the Chelsea coach in question, Marco Lanny, is an absolute scumbag for doing that, man. I mean, come on, yeah, we all know you're happy, mate. You've just done it, but have a little bit of class, mate. Show a little bit of decorum. Why are you going over to the opposition bench and celebrating right in their faces? And you're celebrating a draw at Stamford Bridge, are you? You're a prick. I know, okay, yeah, it's a last-minute draw. You know, it's a great goal. You'll be celebrating that. You're a prick. But you should have a bit more class and a bit more self-control to go over there and lord it upon the opposition's faces, one of which happens to be your ex-manager who won 3 Premier League titles whilst at the club there. And generally, this is a statement to all Chelsea fans as well, Chelsea supporters in general. You know, that tin pot club that had billions injected into him by a Russian oligarch, you know, that one? Is that you need to sort yourselves out in regards to Jose Mourinho. Have some class, have some decorum. Why is he getting all these horrible, abusive chants at him? He won you 3 titles. Okay, he said a few things here and there since he's left. Well, he fell out with the team. He fell out with the board. That's to be understood. He's a bit bitter about it, as I'm sure a lot of you are, because obviously you're taking that out on Jose Mourinho just for the fact that he's not your manager anymore and he joined a rival. But he didn't really join. He joined a rival after being sacked. He didn't join a rival and leave you to join a rival. I could understand that. Have a little bit of freaking respect. Do you know what I mean? Have a bit of appreciation for a man who actually won Chelsea their first Premier League title and transformed them from the shite side that they were to an actual Premier League Goliath and set the foundation so that they could go on and lift the Champions League and that sort of thing. And yeah, Abramovich's billions helps. But even so, I mean, I think Chelsea don't give Jose Mourinho the appreciation he deserves. That's in both terms of the coaches, obviously, and both terms of the fans and the owners. Jose Mourinho deserves a lot of credit from Chelsea fans, in my humble opinion. But who really gives a shit about that anyway? I certainly don't care about Chelsea fans. Absolute scum, aren't they? The lot of them. No, I'm joking. If there's any Chelsea fans tuning in, watching, you're scum. Right, but yeah, just wanted to highlight that, give you my thoughts and opinions on it, see what you guys thought about it. Obviously, it wasn't a very nice scene. It was a bit of an unsavoury scene. There's lots of pushing and shoving. Apparently, there's even more afters in the tunnel, going down the tunnel afterwards. But I think Jose was right to react like that. There was talk about him getting punishment for his retaliation or his reaction to the Chelsea coach getting in his face. But I personally think he was spot on, bang on to do that. Well within his rights. The other guy showed no class. That was totally disrespectful. And I would have hoped that he did land that flying eagle Khabib Nurmagomedov kick to him, to be honest. Because I thought that was just classless from the man. But there you go. I don't think he's going to receive any sort of action from it. I believe Jose Mourinho and him have put it to bed. I like Jose Mourinho's sort of post-match interview where he was talking about him being apologised to by the coach in question and him accepting his apology like a man. And I thought that was very nice from Jose Mourinho and just showed that little bit of extra class. Right then, let's get on to some of your comments and we'll talk obviously a bit more about the Premier League and some of the other football going on. Of course, Manchester United, big Champions League game tomorrow night. We'll get into that a little bit. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Ronaldo coming back. I've got some stuff to say about Cristiano Ronaldo as well. Just want to say, isn't it funny actually? Like the FIFA 19 cover is him like looking a bit dodgy running away. You know, it's like, hang on. Has the photographer said to him, hey Ronaldo, can you, in this shot, can you just make it look like you're running away from a rape allegation? Do you know what I mean? That's what it looks like. The look on his face. He's like, he's definitely concerned about something. You know, he's not happy about being on the FIFA 19 cover. There's some sort of issue, underlying issue going on there. So I think the photographer used that as motivation in that shoot. That's all I'm saying. Right, come on then. Let's get into the comments. Everybody who's tuned in. Alex Rudd says, it's like a new Arsenal. Yeah, like I said at the start of the video, you must be happy. Arsenal looking very good. I think if they were to finish 5th or 6th this season, it would actually be good based on the other teams above them, how much they spent, what a better place they were in at the start of the season. New managers come in, and he's had a really positive effect on them. I think your strikers are amazing. You know, if you've got Lacazette up there, you've always got a chance. You've got so much pace up there. And it's easy to see how Arsenal could actually turn this season into a really positive one with the attackers that they've got. They've still got defensive frailties, absolutely, as they pretty much always have done in my memory, apart from going right back to when they had like Adams and Bold and people like that when they had the best defences in Europe. But after those fellas all left, and Keown left, and Campbell left, and all those guys left, they've been gashtastic at the back. Similar to Manchester United, really, you know, not having a dig. Manchester United's problems lie at the back also. We've got defenders who are not quite up to the task, and I think Arsenal, they're going to have issues defensively, but going forward, I don't think they've got much of an issue. They've got some really good players up there, and they've had a very positive start to the season, so good luck to you, I'd say. Do you know what I mean? Mr. Armez comments, Arsenal tonight. Yeah, big game against Leicester City, I believe. I think I'm getting that right. Arsenal versus Leicester is tonight. That's right, isn't it? And, yeah, I mean, that's a tough game for both teams, really, because Leicester aren't to be taken lightly. They're a very good unit. They've got very dangerous players in there themselves. So I expect it to be a good game. We'll see what happens in that one. If Arsenal could get the win, what a positive that would be. That could really set them on the right path this season in terms of challenging or trying to actually have a good positive season, maybe even getting into those Champions League spots. I mean, what a season that would be. If Arsene Wenger has left the club and you're expecting this time when Arsenal are going to have a drop-off, because obviously it does take time to change a whole philosophy of a club with a new manager, coaching system, all that sort of stuff. There is often a drop-off. But it seems that at Arsenal, maybe that drop-off is actually not the case, and it's just he's come in, he's given them a shot in the arm, as often happens when you do change manager. But I was expecting more of a period of turmoil, just simply because of the length of time that Arsene Wenger was at the club. It's like Alex Ferguson at Manchester United. You know, he's there such a long time. such a legacy left behind at the club. Somebody coming in, it's always going to be a difficult job to take over the reins from the previous manager because he is such an icon and a legend at the club and everything's been done in a certain way for such a long period of time. So whoever gets that task is going to be difficult, but I think he's doing a tremendous job at Arsenal, and we'll see what happens with him. Cameron Howard comments, Chelsea bench was a disgrace at the end of the game. No tolerance for that. Totally agree. I mean, I just think it's not on, is it? It's not called for. There's no need for that. Fair enough, you're really happy that your team has got a last-minute equaliser. Fair play to you. You should be happy about that, and you should be celebrating. But you don't need to go over to the opposition's bench who's just conceded that goal and rub it in. That's where the problem is. It's just completely classless, as I said before. I think that the man in question should get some sort of internal suspension or something from Chelsea Football Club. In my opinion, I know Sarri's not happy about it. He didn't think it was on either. And I respect that. I think Sarri's actually a decent sort of a manager, a decent sort of a bloke. But yeah, his coach there has just had an absolute daymare. And he deserves some sort of punishment. I don't know whether it will be from, I don't know what the Premier League can actually do, but internally at Chelsea, I think maybe they could just give him a little bit of a slap on the wrist and say, look, you're a prick, mate. You don't behave like that. Totally classist. Doesn't represent Chelsea Football Club in a good light. There's kids watching. They're just going to think that's appropriate. Yeah, I know it's not that bad. He's not Khabib Nurmagomedov flying kicked him. I love saying Khabib Nurmagomedov. I do. I learned how to say it, so I'm going to say it shitloads. But anyway, yeah, Khabib Nurmagomedov. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was a bit of an unsavoury sight. He celebrated in his face. Josie's got rightfully annoyed, and they've had to be separated. Stewards have had to hold them apart. The steward who held Jose Mourinho back did a very good job, although probably wasn't the most challenging, was it, from the Portuguese Mr. Bean there. Alex comments, Arsenal get good defensive players. Watch out. Yes, that's right. If they do get good defensive players, I mean, they could be a force because, like I say, going forward, they have got some real gems in there. So much pace as well. They're very, very dangerous. Alex Rincon in the house. How's it going, Alex Rincon? Thanks very much for stopping by, mate. He says, we deserve 3 points on Saturday with a super chat as well. Really appreciate that, mate. I know, man. We really did. It's such a shame that we couldn't see the game over the line. Fair play to Chelsea coming back in there. I want to say David De Gea, what an unbelievable save it was before the final finish, because obviously it's pinballing around a little bit. There's a very unbelievable world-class reactionary save that David De Gea makes, and unfortunately it falls in the path of Ross Barkley, who puts it in the back of the net. So it wasn't a gem of a goal that Chelsea has scored at the end there, but either way, a goal's a goal. I thought, based on the second half performance, based how he took the game to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, that we deserved to win the game as well. Unfortunately, we didn't. That is football. We had the ball in the back of the net on another occasion as well, which is questionable for it to be ruled out. So, it could have definitely been our day. It wasn't. I believe we should have won that game. We deserved to win, and it really would have set us on. It could have set us on at least a good path now, because if we would have got that win, it would have given us a shot in the arm that we desperately needed in terms of points to actually maybe mount a challenge for getting just top 4 this season, because that's basically Manchester United's title now, is getting top 4. And I don't mean our title in general, I just mean this season. I think we've got to have a look at our season objectives, and we've got to change them a little bit, because we've got to be realistic. I don't really see us challenging the likes of Man City this season. Look at how they won at the weekend, 5-0 emphatic. Every time they come up against a team they should be beaten 5-0, they do. So you've got to really respect them. Liverpool, you've got to respect. They got over the line again at the weekend. Just managed to do it. 1-0 victory. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to respect them, because this season, not only have they got those unbelievable attacking talents and that great attacking mentality, they've got solidity at the back. They've got clean sheets in them. They've got the ability to defend. And Manchester United, on the other hand, we haven't got that. I heard some stat during the game, actually, which was absolutely horrendous. I think we've conceded as many goals already this season. No, we've conceded the amount of goals this season last in like 2001, 2002 season. So a very long time ago that we've had such a bad start to the season in terms of conceding goals. David De Gea has had about 1 clean sheet in 9 games in the Premier League, which goes to show you how shite we've been. And it's not his fault. It's not like he's a bad keeper letting in silly blunders. No, he's making world-class saves. He's keeping the goals out. So it goes to show you how bad Manchester United have been this season. But I don't think that was the case, certainly in the second half against Chelsea. We definitely deserve to go on and win that game. James Arnold in the house. How's it going, James? Thanks for stopping by. He says, get 2 world-class defenders and Jose might feel confident and he might let the team express themselves. Sorry, just having a little sip of water there. Yes, mate. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, we do have problems at the back. Jose was crying out for players to come in the transfer window to improve our plight at the back there because we've got some absolutely calamitous players at the back there. I'm looking at you, Phil Jones. Calamity Jones. No Bones. And Chris Smalldong at the back there. Not good enough, are they, centre-backs wise? Eric Bailey's had a gash season so far, made some blunders. Not happy about his performances this season. When he came in, I thought he could be, you know, a real fantastic player for us, but I'm not so convinced now. Or maybe it's just the fact that his partner is either Smalldong or No Bones. Do you know what I mean? So it's very difficult for him. But I don't think he's been up to scratch either. We've been crying out for a top-quality centre-back for absolutely years, and we haven't solved that problem. I totally agree with you. If we did get a couple of top quality centre backs in, I'm talking real top quality who are experienced and ready made and can maybe slot in there. I don't know who, but maybe like a Sergio Ramos or a Toby Alderweireld or you know, a Diego Godin or you know, a Harry Maguire was an option that we were trying. I know he's not as experienced as the other two, but somebody who's got some Premier League experience anyway and can come in and looks very positive, looks like he's going to have a good career, both in the Premier League and internationally for England. So he would be a good option. Should have done that. There was talk about in the transfer window. We were not prepared to spend the extra few pennies, of which we have shitloads, to get him. So that's very annoying. And if I was Jose, I'd still be pissed off about that. Because like you say, if we did have a solid back line, then it does take the pressure off the rest of the team in the sense that they can have a bit more freedom. Jose's tactics maybe wouldn't be quite so negative if he knows that he's got these players that are defensive Goliaths who just know positioning, who have effect on games in terms of the challenges that they're making. You know, because that is why you have world-class defenders. It's because they're in a separate category to other defenders, like any position on the pitch. Sergio Ramos is, you know, the Ronaldo of defenders, if you like, because he's a great ball player. He's got a fantastic mentality, very competitive. Okay, he's a bit hot-headed. He gets a few too many red cards. I'm just using him as an example. But in terms of his technical ability as a defender and as a footballer in general, it is very, very good indeed. And we don't have a player like that. United used to have players like that. Used to have Rio Ferdinand, who was a big unit. He was a big, strong defensive unit, but he could play football. His feet were very good for a man of his build, shall we say, his unfortunate build. No, it's not unfortunate though, is it? It's fortunate. I actually met Rio Ferdinand once at a nightclub in Bournemouth like 10 years ago or something, and he was freaking massive. I mean, I'm 6'2", but he was pretty freaking big. You know, maybe not the biggest like that, but he's a definite big lad. And all I'm saying is we've been crying out for a top quality centre-back for so long. If we did have those centre-backs, it would allow Jose to play a bit more expansive football because we don't have the pressures of having to deal with a No-Bones or a Chris Smalldong at the back there making blunders left, right and centre. We can have somebody who's more solid, like an Nemanja Vidic, who would just be so solid and just reads the game so well. Because that's the thing, it's not just about technical ability, it's also about intelligence, it's always about how you read the game, especially from a defensive point of view. And that's why a player like Vidic and Ferdinand are a cut above, because they read the game so well. That's why John Terry is such a fantastic defender, because the way he reads the game, it's not just he's putting his body on the line, which he does, you know, better than anybody. It's not just that he's technically good. He is technically good, but he's, you know, John Terry's not the best technical player. He's good with his head. He's good at defending. He's good at blocking. He's good at intercepting. All the aspects that make up a good defender. But he also has a real spirited mentality. I don't know why I'm talking about this John Terry prick. Do you know what I mean? Because I was talking about Manchester United, but I'm just saying top quality defenders are not easy to come by. We should have come by one by now after the amount of time it's been since Vidic and Ferdinand have left Manchester United. I mean, it's literally been years and we've not plugged the gap there. It's unbelievable that we've not plugged the gap there. I know we've tried. I know we have signed defenders, Lindelof and Bailey, and, you know, but it's just not worked out. They're not to the standard that we need. We need a ready-made defender to come in there, and not just one, two. We need a couple of ready-made defenders at Manchester United there to just be solid, to just make our foundation solid. All good teams are built on a good defence. Most of them, anyway. And certainly old Manchester United teams of the Premier League era, when we were very successful, were built on having a great foundation. And that's such a huge important aspect of the game that is overlooked by a lot of Manchester United fans. It's all well and good to, and this is me, myself included, I'm just being a prick here, but you know, it's all well and good to criticise the style of play, But if you've got to set up in a certain way because you're worried about conceding goals because of the calamitous players that we've got at the back there, I mean, that's not good, is it? It doesn't bode well. We've seen Jose play attacking football before, both at Real Madrid and at Chelsea. Whatever anybody says about that, you're wrong, because at certain times they were absolutely unbelievable. Real Madrid, I think, won the La Liga over there, the Spanish league, with a record number of goals while Jose Mourinho was manager. And that's at a time when Pep Guardiola's Barcelona were basically one of the best teams that's ever been seen on this planet. So just the fact that he could wrestle the trophy off of Guardiola and score a record number of goals just goes to show you that it's not all about defending with Jose Mourinho. You know, it's just that he's got a great defence and he's got great attacking players. So that takes the pressure off of the attacking players to, you know, or not takes the pressure off, but gives them the freedom to go and attack and express themselves and maybe make that extra forward run because you're not worried about having to track back. You know, I would much rather have a defensive unit and an attacking unit at Manchester United. Two separate units, basically, where the defender's job is to defend and the attacker's job is to attack. You know, it's not rocket science. Rather than trying to play this fluid system. Because I think we could do well like that because our attacking talents are so good. The problem is, like you say, James Arnold, we've got some gash players at the back that we need to address. Kieran Jones comments, Martial is the best player for now and future. Yeah, if he can get the consistency into his game, he's shown this season on a good few occasions recently, actually, that he is really, really quality. He has got the technical ability. And, you know, if he's up for it, if he's in a confident mood, he can be as good as anybody. In my opinion, I think he can be as good as anybody on his day. I don't see anything lacking in his technical ability or his game or his intelligence or anything. I think he's so good. I compare him to Thierry Henry because I think he's that good. Henry's one of the best players the Premier League's ever seen, and he could live up to that. He really could. He's got the potential. He's going to have to start doing it now. He did it in the last game. He's done it in a couple of games this season, but he's going to have to start doing it now, consistently. Of course, the team performance around him is going to affect him. That's going to be a factor. You can't just expect him to be this, you know, this Cristiano Ronaldo type player who can do it on his own. He's going to need the team to be playing well around him. But I think based on how we played against Chelsea, you know, we could be all right this season. The season's done. We're not going to be all right this season. It's unrealistic that we get top 4 now. It really is. But if Martial has a good season, if players like Rashford have a good season, if Lukaku sorts his life out, if Lukaku sorts himself out, come on, Romelu, if he does, then do you know what I mean? It's like Arsenal, like I was saying earlier on, we've got the attacking talents in the side. Defensively, we're not quite up to the standard. But we've always got a chance when we've got players like Anthony Martial playing well, players like Rashford playing well, players like Lukaku playing well. If you've got these lads playing well, and of course everybody in behind them as well, you know, setting them up, the likes of Pogba, he's got to continue doing well. And Juan Mata, I think, deserves to be starting certainly the next couple of games for me. He's always one of our best performers when he plays. I love his attitude, I love his mentality, I love his creativity out there on the pitch. You know, you can't put a price on that. It's not all about being the biggest physical side. You know, Jose, for some reason, he seems to love that. And yes, it's certainly needed in certain positions. You know, you don't want a 5'2" centre-back or whatever defending set pieces, no. But he does favour the larger player in his sides. You know, some teams we've put out this season have been ridiculously tall. People like, you know, we've got Fellaini and Pogba's a tall lad and Lukaku and all these guys. They're all pretty big lads, 6 foot plus. So he doesn't seem to favour the little diddy players like a Juan Mata. And he's done that historically over his managerial career as well. You know, he's often, you know, Drogba is his main striker, for instance. You know, that kid tells you everything. A big physical player. And he signed Lukaku as well. Not an elegant, sort of skillful, artistic player. No, he signed a big physical player. He likes that player, he does. But in my opinion, you need somebody who's got a little bit of a magician. You need somebody with a deft touch, like a Juan Mata, who can be creative, set all sorts up for your team, and allow the attackers to actually score goals, because that's what a player like Juan Mata does. He's so technically gifted. In my opinion, you could slot him into the Barcelona side under Pep Guardiola. You know, take out Xavi or take out Iniesta. Okay, maybe they're bad examples because they're some of the best players that have ever lived. But you could take out one of the other players, pop Juan Mata in there, give him a little briefing, and I think he'd do absolutely fine in there. He's that technically gifted of a player. I love him. Anyway, that's all I'm saying, you know. Big time man love for Juan. Not only is he the nicest little bloke and you can fit him in the palm of your hand, he's also a badass player out there on the pitch for United. And I like that. I do. Barnes comments and says, why are you always wearing a beanie? I'm not always wearing a beanie, actually. Shitloads of videos where I'm just got my hair out. Or I'm wearing the other hat, you know, the Mr. Flying Pig hat. Not this. This is just a beanie that I'm just rocking because, you know, it looks good. No, to be fair, it's because I still haven't had my hair cut, lads and lasses. You know what I mean? I haven't had my hair out on the channel for ages. You know why? It's because I haven't had it cut. Yeah. So I'm not getting it cut. This is it. I'm not getting my hair cut until Manchester United are in the top 4. So it could be a very long hairdo before that happens. But I'm just putting my foot down. I'm going to say that right now. I'm not getting my hair cut until Manchester United are in the top 4. But also, it's not just for that, you know, to hide the shocking hairdo that I've got under this. It's also because it's just getting a little bit colder now in England. It's pretty chilly. Don't want to have the heating on all the time. Do you know what I mean? So I'll just chill with a beanie. You know, conserve that body heat a bit. Barnes comments and says, do you still talk to Henry Hotspur? Of course I still speak to Henry Hotspur. Give him a bell every now and again. He's been so busy recently, the time differences and stuff. He's working all these hours out there in his new job. It's cashtastic. I'm going to get him on the channel very soon. I know I've been saying this. Don't blame me. You know, I'm available quite often for Henry to come on the channel. Blame him. Do you know what I mean? He's letting the side down. Seriously, it's not cool, is it? He's gone to China. He's made zero effort to get on the channel. Do you know what I mean? I even sent him a thing saying, if you can't get on live with me, just send a clip giving your thoughts on Spurs and the Premier League this season and send it in. And I'll stick it on the channel. But no, haven't heard anything from the prick. Thank you for your question. Darren Townsend, yes, Pig, modelling your Petr Cech hat. Yeah, I mean, it's not a Petr Cech hat, is it? Let's be honest now. That's a bit harsh on this hat. Come on, Petr Cech wears one of those silly hats that rugby players wear to stop getting cauliflower ears. This is nothing like that. No, did you see that FIFA clip with, for some reason, Petr Cech's wearing his hat in the contract negotiations? Do you know what I mean? In career mode. What's that all about? Zabadino comments and says, we're still in the Champions League, mate. How many you won? I don't know. I think he might. Oh, yeah. I think he's dissing a Gooner fan there. Good one. I like it. We are still in the Champions League. And they haven't won any. Maximilian 7 in the house. How are you doing, my friend? Love from Munich Pig. Oh, this guy's tuning in all the way from Germany. Guten Tag to you, mein Freunde. Would you give it Wenger till the end of the season? I'd give it Arsene to the end of the season. In all honesty, no, I wouldn't. I mean, if it wasn't for the history, I would say yes, because I think he's got a good mentality when it comes to playing football, just the way he likes his teams to play football. I find it attractive. I find it entertaining, attacking football, lots of nice triangles and passes and all that sort of stuff. It's all with a goal of playing nice football, but by winning and scoring goals and dominating the opposition. That is how Arsene Wenger would go about it. It wouldn't always pan out that way, but that was basically his go-to mentality with Arsenal throughout his career there. And I do like that. I think it'd be better for us to maybe have a manager like that at Manchester United. The way it ended at Arsenal, it would increase the likelihood that maybe that would happen. But no, I don't see it happening. And also, we just can't have Arsene Wenger manage Manchester United because he was such a rival to us for such a long time. And I actually like Arsene Wenger. I think he's a nice bloke. But at the time, back in the day there, you know, who was this upstart from France who's come over here? And he's just, he did absolutely unbelievable, wrestled the Premier League trophy away from us, and was very successful for the first half of his Arsenal career in the Premier League. Absolutely unbelievable. You can't deny that the teams Arsene Wenger put together, including that Invincibles team, are some of the best Premier League teams that we've ever seen in both terms of winning things and also the style of football of which they played. They were some of the best teams that I've ever seen. So you've got to credit him. You've got to say that if he was Manchester United manager, maybe he would actually do quite good things for us, because we're the type of club, we're crying out for a bit more entertaining attacking football. He could perhaps bring that. But no, we can't have Arsene Wenger. Do you know what I mean? That would be insane. I don't see that one happening at all. That's not going to materialise at all. Moho Khan comments and says, thanks for your question, by the way, previous commenter. Moho Khan, Rashford has been sloppy this season. His gameplay has been poor. I'm going to agree with you. I think he needs to look at himself in the mirror as well and try and improve. Because he's had a very good start to his Manchester United career. He's still only very young. He's still got all the potential in the world to go on and fulfill. But this season, he's not been good. He's one of a handful of players who've not been good enough this season. And he needs to do something about it. He's got the talent. He's still young. He's still learning. But at the same time, he's going to have to start converting his chances. He's going to have to start putting the ball in the back of the net. He's not doing that. He's not been playing well for Manchester United this season. There's a problem at Manchester United. There is. Just the fact that we played one good half against Chelsea doesn't stop the fact that this season, like I say, we conceded the most we had since the 2001 season. Barely any clean sheets. Not winning games, not seeing out games as well. In my reaction video last time around, I was really pissed off. Obviously, I'm chilled out about it. The dust has settled now on the result and on the game. I wasn't even able to watch the game at the time, so I was listening to it. I'm listening to it thinking, yes, we're going to win the game. And then Barkley puts it in the back of the net. And I'm fuming because we've not been able to see out that game. But really, you know, it's just a set piece into the box. It's pinballed around. It's David De Gea's made a good save and it's fallen to Barkley's put it in the back of the net. It happens. Do you know what I mean? It's a shame that we couldn't get the result in the end there. But the actual performance was decent. But the players have to start doing it consistently, like they showed that they could in that second half performance against Chelsea, because we know that they can do it. Chelsea, one of the best teams in the league. They've had one of the best starts to the season. The new manager's really turned them around. They look a very good outfit. And we battered them second half, in my opinion. Okay, they were in the game, but we really did play well second half. And we were rightfully 2-1 up come the end of the game. And they were fortunate at the end there to come away from that game with a draw. So we know that they can do it. We know they can do it. We saw that second half performance against Newcastle United. It was like a complete contrast. The first half performance against Newcastle was one of the worst I've ever seen from Manchester United. The amount of mistakes, the lack of commitment from the players, the lack of chances, creating anything. It was so bad. But then the second half was one of the best. In the sense of just showing character, getting back into the game, but not only getting back into it, but going on to win the game right at the end of the game. You know, we showed a lot of character and a lot of desire in that second half. But consistency is the problem with Manchester United. We can't play like that. We can't play one half absolutely shocking, defensively bad, making lots of errors, conceding goals, and then play another half the opposite to that, because, you know, it's just the law of averages. You're not going to win them all. Just like this Chelsea game where we weren't able to hang on. You know, it's a real shame that we weren't able to do that. But Manchester United are going to have to start getting consistency into our game. We're going to have to start performing like we did in that second half on a much more regular basis if we are to mount a top 4 challenge this season. And as a United fan, you know, we've been spoiled. I've been spoiled growing up in the 90s with Manchester United's success, the way we played and how we did it and what we won. So spoiled. But now, you know, really now we've got to take a look at the team and say they're just not good enough. You know, they're not quite good enough. And we've got to, it sickens me to say that we've got to try and challenge for top 4, because as a United fan, certainly under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, second wasn't good enough. You know, it's all about winning. We had that winning mentality, but we don't really have that at the club at the moment, because we just don't have the success out there on the pitch to warrant that sort of mentality. Yeah, it's a gas state of affairs. It really is a bad state of affairs, lads and lasses. You know, I'd love to paper over it and gloss it up, shine it up real nice for you. But the fact of the matter is, United don't have a good enough back line. We play too negative football. Maybe that's a lot because of that. And consistency is our problem at the moment. We're losing to teams we shouldn't be losing against, and we're not able to hang on and win games like we should do. So we've got some big problems at Manchester United. There's a lot of talk about Jose. I'm not going to get too deep into him. I can't really criticise him for the performance we had in the second half against Chelsea in what should have been the result at 2-1, and even the 2-2 result, even the fact that it ended 2-2, going away to Stamford Bridge, coming away with a point. At any other time, in any other campaign, pretty much, you know, if not for the start to the season that Manchester United had, I'd consider that a good result. You've gone away on the road to Stamford Bridge, very tough place to go, one of our bogey grounds, and we've got a point. You know, that's not a bad result, but because of the pressure it's put on us with having such a bad start to the season, you know, it's made it very difficult for us. To everybody tuning in right now on the live stream, thanks so much for stopping by. Get your thoughts and opinions in. Continue to do that. I'll try and answer as many as them before I've got to go soon. Got to go reasonably soon, unfortunately. But just to give you an update on what's been going on, obviously it's been the international break last couple of weeks. I've been working a lot, so I wasn't able to do like the Monday analysis videos. But because the football's back on, obviously every Monday after the weekend's football, the Premier League, and maybe even Champions League stuff as well. I'll talk to you about that in a moment. We will be going over and dissecting the weekend's football. But tomorrow night, Manchester United are playing in the Champions League. And what I would do from now on as well, to anybody who wants a little bit more content on this channel, because I'm fully aware I don't get enough out there. And if anybody wants to contribute with videos and stuff, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter or whatever. And let me know if you fancy sending in a video breaking down Manchester United. Do something, you know, related to this channel that might actually make good content for this channel. Let me know. I'd be open to checking it out and putting it on here, because I work a reasonable amount. I can't always get the amount of content on this channel that I'd like to. But anyway, after the Champions League, what I'm going to do is something called a midweek mumble. You've seen it on the channel in the past before. But it's just another shitty video like this, basically. Just another live video podcast. Running down the previous night's games, you know, whenever there's a Manchester United game on midweek, like this Tuesday one, you bet your bottom dollar that on Wednesday we'll be doing a midweek mumble. See, it's pretty difficult to say. Midweek Mancunian mumble. We used to have that on the channel, so, you know, just bringing that back. Midweek mank mumble, or just midweek mumble, actually, is probably easier for me to say. Plus, I'm not actually a mank, even though I support Manchester United, so, yeah. We'll just call it Midweek Mumble, but from now on there will be a Monday analysis podcast and there will be a Midweek Mumble sometime around Wednesday or Thursday. So you've got that to look forward to, plus my usual brand of post-match live reactions, etc., etc. They'll always be on the channel, so I hope you enjoyed the content. I know the last video I did, the match reaction in my car after the game against Chelsea, was not up to the usual standard, really, of a Flying Pig video, in my opinion anyway, just because I obviously was working at the time, was listening to the game on the radio, wasn't able to watch it. So that obviously just makes it pretty difficult for me to begin with, because I've not actually seen how we've played. I'm only hearing some posh twat's opinion of it on the radio. So yeah. But yeah, there'll be more content coming on the channel anyway. Let's get through a bunch more of your comments. Thanks so much to everybody who does tune in and watch these live podcast videos and live match reactions on this channel. You are a bunch of legends. Much appreciated. Roberto Bezic comments and says, as a Juve fan, I think we'll win tomorrow. Well, bring it on, Roberto. Bring it on, pal. Arrivederci. Or Roberto. No buongiorno, Roberto, to be fair. I think it's going to be a good game of football. I think we will do better than anticipated, actually. I really do. I think Juventus are a good side. We've got Cristiano Ronaldo in there. It's going to be his first game back. He's going to have a point to prove. He's going to be loving the prospect of playing United. And I think that Juventus is obviously one of the best teams in Europe. Rightfully so. Very tough team. It's going to be difficult for us. 100%. But I also think it's going to be a little bit difficult for you, pal, because we do have Martial, you know, and we do have other players on paper who are supposed to be good. So if they can translate from the paper out there onto the pitch and actually play like 50% of what they're able to, we'll give you a good game. But at the moment with Manchester United, like I said, our problem is consistency. Our problem is we don't know the team that's going to be out there. We don't know how we're going to set up. We don't know the tactics. We don't know the formation even. We don't know anything. You know, so we don't know if we're going to get a good account of our Manchester United side, if Mata's going to be in there, if Mata's going to be playing well, if Martial's going to turn into the invisible man, if Rashford's going to have a Gashford, if Lukaku's going to turn into Lukaku poop. We don't know any of this stuff, really. We'll just have to wait and see, Roberto. But no, fair play to you. Good luck to you. I think we're going to give you a good game anyway. I hope we do. If we get ripped apart 3-0, I'm just going to be absolutely in anguish. Because I still think that this United side, on their day with the players we've got, should be able to compete with most teams around Europe. I know we're not the best team in Europe at the moment, I know that, but we are still in the Champions League. We still have a multi-million-pound squad, who some of which are on hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. So, yeah, let me talk about one other thing, actually, Roberto. You reminded me there of another contract that we've just signed up, or we've just finalised, which is with Luke Shaw. I want to give you my thoughts on him and the contract that he was given recently. Last week he was given a contract somewhere in the region of, I believe, 150 to 190,000 pounds a week. That That is absolutely unreal. Luke Shaw, you lucky bastard. How have you done that? No, to be fair, he's been good for us this season, and I've actually liked how he's progressed recently under Jose Mourinho. I think Jose's worked wonders with him. He obviously has faith in him. There were times in their relationship when it didn't look like it was going to be very prosperous because Jose was quite critical of Luke Shaw earlier on, critical in terms of his commitment both on and off the pitch and also his intelligence. He basically said he was a dummy. And he had to stand on the byline and shout instructions at him, tell him exactly what to do because he didn't know what to do. He was basically calling him a dummy. But now he seems to have got him on track, got him progressing as a footballer, and he's rewarded him with a quite significant deal. Now, is he worth that sort of a money? Well, considering he may go on to be one of the best left backs for England and, you know, for Manchester United for the coming 8 years, it's a long-term commitment. You've got to look at the long-term picture here. If you think Luke Shaw's worth 150 to 190,000 pounds right now, I'd say I don't think he is. It's not worth that per week, even though money's just money in this game of football and it doesn't really mean anything because there's so much of it and they make so much. You know, that I can't even quantify that. That is years worth of income for a normal person, really. You know, absolute years worth. And he's getting that in a week. So does he deserve it? Absolutely not. But in a way, he does deserve it because ask me the same question in 3 years' time. Ask me if Luke Shaw deserves to be paid 180,000, let's say, a week in 3 years' time. And hopefully I'll be saying yes, because he will have turned into this unbelievable, consistent player for Manchester United. And that's the key. This is a long-term plan, this contract signing of Luke Shaw. It really is. And the same thing happened with Jesse Lingard. When Jesse Lingard, I know he's not been great recently, but Jesse Lingard, when he signed that contract for £100,000 a week, I almost shit a brick. Because I just didn't think he was worth anywhere near that. He was a young lad. He barely contributed, really. But then, do you know what? He went on and he scored key goals in key games and real contributions and put in great performances consistently. And last season, I think Jesse Lingard was one of our best players consistency-wise. He was really, really good for us. And he definitely deserved £100,000 a week based on what everyone else has paid. So, you know, let's see how this deal goes. I'm happy that Luke Shaw is going to remain a Manchester United player for the next 5 years. I think he could progress on and be a really, really great left-back for both club and country. So I think it's a good signing by Manchester United. His deal was running out end of the season. You don't want to see a player of his calibre going somewhere free or whatever. We want to get that deal nice and secure. We want him to be a Manchester United player and hopefully contribute to the club for the next 5 years. Alex Rudd, I will make a logo if I have time. You absolute legend. Thanks very much, mate. What you said about my current logo is absolutely gashtastic. Eh? I made that logo! No, fair enough. It's not great, is it? It's gashtastic. I don't know if you're even talking about that, actually, going back through some of the comments here. Maybe I've just made a fool of myself. But it's a regular occurrence on here. I get my wires crossed and I get confused and don't really know what I'm talking about based on your comments here. Comment here from the chef from South Park, whose name is Chocolate Salty Balls. Who doesn't remember that awesome song that came out back in the day? That takes me right back to like year 6 of school. Suck on my chocolate. You know the rest. But anyway, he comments and says, Chicharito was a super sub and hard worker. Should have never been sold. Oh! I couldn't agree with you more, pal. What a player. What an absolute player he is. I mean, you know, just natural born finisher. Basically the Mexican Michael Owen without the injury proneness. Obviously not quite as good as Michael Owen was at the start of his career, but certainly better than Michael Owen was at the end of his career because of the injuries and all that shit. It's unfortunate, but he's that type of player, you know, likes to play on the last man on the shoulder. He likes to get in behind. He's got great finishing, really underrated heading ability as well. Just a natural born finisher. We saw that when he was at Manchester United. I remember when we signed him, it was like a revelation because we paid like $6 million for him. Nobody really knew anything about him. He come from Guadalajara in Mexico, you know, a club nobody over here would really know too much about. And he had an instant impact. We basically used him as a super sub. He was like the Mexican Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then he deserved starts in the team, and he delivered. And that first season under Sir Alex Ferguson when he was here, he was a complete revelation. And we should have never sold him. His commitment, he went on to Real and scored goals, you know. We should have never sold Chicharito, in my opinion. I think he's the one that got away there. We should have 100% kept him. Natural born finisher. You need a few quality strikers at this level to come in and play these various different competitions. He would have been an ideal candidate to come and do that. So yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. Alex Red comments and says, I'm talking about the midweek mumble. Oh, okay then, great, yeah. Yeah, no, if you could do, man, that would be absolutely amazing if you could make a thumbnail for Midweek Mumble, because as you can see by the thumbnail on this video, it's not my forte. It's not my forte. James Arnold, yeah, Moyes and LVG screwed up. Yeah, they did. They really did. They got rid of some players they shouldn't have. And we've got Chocolate Salty Balls coming in here again saying, I'm telling you, we should have just made Martial the number 9 and spent Luhesky's money on defence. Is that what we're calling Lukaku from now on, Luhesky? I like it. He is like Emil Heskey. He's not even as good as Emil Heskey this season, is he? Let's be honest now. James Arnold said, Pig, did you see my super chat? You know what, James? I did not. Otherwise, I would have 100% read that. Thank you so much for sending it in. I'm going back now. Let's see what you said. The anticipation is killing me. No, seriously, though, I just want to give a shout out to all the people that do get involved with the super chats and stuff. I had somebody comment on my last video saying some bullshit like, what do you mean you're at work? You don't have a job. You just live off super chats and ask people for super chats. I don't actually ask people for super chats. People do super chat. And of course, I'm going to read out the super chats because they're highlighted. You know, obviously I missed yours, James, there. But they're generally highlighted. And also somebody's actually physically paid money, or maybe not physically, digitally, paid money to have their highlight commented on the feed. You know, so of course I'm going to read people's comments who super chat in. And I just want to say to everybody who does super chat in, you're a bunch of legends for doing that, because that is actual money that's leaving their accounts. And some of that money is going into my account. So that's pretty awesome that people feel the need to do that anyway. So thanks very much for getting involved. I'm looking at you, James Arnold. I'm looking at Alex Rincon and Alex Rudd. And also Gungshi and lots of other people that are not springing to mind right now that do that. So you're a bunch of legends for doing that. And I do definitely appreciate it. Chocolate Salty Balls, we sold Zaha for 4 million too. Absolute gashtastic. Yeah, look what he's gone on to do now as well. He looks like Palace's best player by a mile anytime he's playing. They look dangerous. Very good player. Didn't happen at Manchester United. You know, Fergie felt the need to bring him in for 10 million or whatever it was. Didn't work out for him. It's a shame. You know, there's definitely been errors made in the Louis van Gaal and the David Moyes eras of getting rid of players we shouldn't have got rid of. And you can even look at more recently. You know, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is an unbelievable player. Okay, he was getting on. He was coming back from an injury. But that technique, that ability doesn't leave you, really. You know, not in such a short space of time. I know he's only in the MLS and he's ripping it up over there. I'm not using that as an example. I'm just saying he's a character. He's a leader. He's a technically good player. The season that Zlatan came in, the first season, how many goals did he score? Shitloads. How good were Manchester United? Not good. But how good were we when we had Zlatan in the side? He gave us an outlet. He gave us that leadership at the top of the pitch. He gave us that drive. And he gave us that final product as well. Because you get the ball to Zlatan, he can do some pretty amazing stuff with it. That's another player. Even a Bastian Schweinsteiger. You know, I love Bastian. I rate him. He's such a quality player. Never really had the opportunities at Manchester United. I was gutted about that. Why did we never play Basti? He was so good. He's such a good player. Anyway, I'm going to basically wrap it up here because we're approaching the hour mark and I don't want to turn into a pumpkin. Just totally stole that from the Joe Rogan Experience there where they always say that at the end. But I don't want to turn into one. I already look too much like one anyway. And obviously Halloween is approaching. I'm going to wrap it up and just say to everybody who's tuned in, thanks so much for stopping by. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section after this video is finished, so they stick around permanently. Also, keep an eye out for the Midweek Mumble podcast, live video podcast, which will be on every single week, Wednesday or Thursday on this channel from now on. Don't know what time, sometime afternoon to early evening, depends on when I'm working, etc. But there will be some sort of a show midweek as well, just recapping the Champions League football and giving my thoughts on United's performance the night before, after the dust has settled, like the Monday analysis. So yeah, thanks so much for getting involved with this episode. We're getting back into it now. The international break's over. United, on the back of an unfortunate slip-up at the end of the game there, we've got to build on this now. We've got to go into that game tomorrow night, and we've got to put in a good account of ourselves. We've got to perform. Okay, the result may be secondary at this stage. It'd be nice to get a result, but we're coming up against a good opposition. The performance is what counts. We need to really focus a lot on the Premier League campaign this year. Although maybe winning the Champions League wouldn't be our only way into getting Champions League qualification next year based on how we do. But we really need to improve our form in the Premier League. Can Jose do it? Only time will tell. Let me know what you think about Jose. Actually, I've not covered him too much in this video, but like I said, I'm not going to criticise him too much after the last couple of performances. Let's see if he can turn it around. It's good. You know, time will tell. Time will tell. There's no point getting on his back right now because he is Manchester United's manager. The board are obviously got the faith in him for the time being. If a few results don't go our way, then that's all going to change. It will all change. But if a few results do go our way, take some of the pressure off, we can see what we can achieve this season. I'm going to leave it there. Everybody who's tuned in, you're a bunch of legends. Like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know your thoughts. You can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at MrFlyingPigHD. Keep a lookout for the match reaction live after the game tomorrow night in the Champions League. And also, as I said, the midweek mumble. Make sure you stop by on the channel for that. I'll see you soon. Need to go have a drink. Feeling proper pasty. Take it easy. Have a good one. This is the big... And I'll see you very soon.